Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast, aka the Pup List. We want to wish everyone out there a happy Thanksgiving. We hope everyone was able to either hang out with friends, family, or both this holiday. Hopefully, you didn't have to work or anything. You could sit around and enjoy the company, the food, and the football. Ren, we just watched the Packers pretty much dominate the Dolphins coming into town on Thanksgiving night. 30-17. Yeah, give me your takeaway. Give me your first takeaway. You mentioned it right off the bat before we started recording. There were a ton of penalties, and this game felt like it went forever.
I think it did. It was like a long watch day. But first up front, happy Thanksgiving to Packer Universe. Obviously, everybody out there ready to take this in and talk about it. I'm sure everybody's ready for bed at this point.
Yeah.
But it started with like literally the Packers get that, great little kickoff return, and then there's an injury, and things just slow down, and this game just seemed to go so slow. Finally, we get going. The Dolphins were, man, I don't know, man. They talked about before this game that the narrative Tua opens it on Sunday right after. Like, we want to flip narratives about playing in the cold. We can do that. We're on to Green Bay. This is things. Not so much.
No.
I will give it to the Dolphins. They didn't actually lay down and die. They actually did have a little fight left them in the second half. I thought they're going to be
true.
so cold, 24-3 coming out of the tunnel in the second half. Like, we're done. We're going to lay down and just. I thought the second half was going to be just a snooze fest, and it was going to be that. Obviously, they don't do well on that first drive. They punt it. The Dolphins muff it, and you get that amazing field position. Is that the only turnover on the day, I want to say, Tay? Jay Reed then goes in to score a few plays later. And second drive, the Dolphins, that the first time they got the ball, they just looked discombobulated. They were all over the place and just not good. Packers get the ball back. A lot of love the second drive with a lot of mix of the running backs. Saw a lot of that in the first half in general. Didn't see enough of it in the second half for my taste, because I thought, obviously Brooks had that one really big run, or was that catch and run. Emmanuel Wilson looked great on that second Packers scoring touchdown drive. Jay Reed was a huge factor tonight, obviously, with Dobbs out, Tay. He was huge. A couple nice deep balls. Obviously, that late one, that last late one to Watson, that was PI. I mean, no way about it. He basically shoulders, puts an arm across his body from his back shoulder, and it should have been a call, but Matt had every right to be upset. But the reality is, again, that this team went into the half 24-3. It was pretty much over when they got the touchdown pretty early in the third quarter. They got the 2-point. It's a 2-possession game. I wasn't feeling great about it. I don't know how you were feeling about it at that time. We saw a few. Isaiah McDuffie, probably player of the game. Obviously, I think he would have had 10 tackles, one for a loss, maybe one other a QB hit. I'm not sure. I did watch Quay Walker drop in coverage today at times, and do some effective things as a pass cover guy. Other times, not so great, but I'll give him kudos on sometimes having to do that against a guy like Tyreek. I mean, okay, good on you. Lucas Van Ness with a little bit of his third sack in the season. We got to see that. Got to see some good pressure time. Tua just seemed off today. The Dolphins seemed off. I don't know. It was at times when this game started to kind of seem like your Thanksgiving tryptophan was ready to put us to sleep. With a big score lead. I know it was more fun trying to watch the weird looks with Mike McDaniels on the sideline, or just continue to watch the game. But it was a dominant win by the Packers. Nothing really stood out. I think Jordan was efficient. I liked a lot of the Tucker stuff. Tucker was big in the game plan today. I would like to see Jordan in some of these cases have got to the checkdowns a little faster. I think some of those could have been even bigger than they were. But there were some really big checkdown plays in this game as well. That one to Jacobs, I'm like, there it is. And I mean, he just rumbled, man. Josh Jacobs is huge in this offense. He's been such a great leader in free agent signing. What that's turned out to be, a 1B with Xavier McKinney as 1A is they did a heck of a job in the offseason bringing him into town. And he just pounds it, Tay. He's reliable. He's going to be out there. You can just count on him game in, game out, day in, day out. And you got to love that from Josh Jacobs. So, again, nice Packer win. Let them taste a little bit of that in the second half, get them back in the game with the Dolphins a little bit, but ultimately the Packers, win big. And hey, that's what you got to do to a Southern team like the Miami Dolphins that just came from 81-degree weather up here. And honestly, you and I go both walk outside today, and we're like, yeah, it's kind of cold. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
We're used to a little bit more, but I know that Mike McDaniel's and trying to be, I don't know what his deal is, just wearing a sweatshirt with. He's got other gear underneath, but his little like interview before he goes into the half is like, dude, are you so cold you can't speak right?
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's what it was. I think he was freezing, dude.
Yeah.
So again, nice Packer win today. I don't have a lot to say about it. There were some nice plays, but nothing was like just a crazy standout. Again, that muff really was huge to get the Packers on the board quick and then kind of let the thing, snowball from there.
Yeah, I agree. But with everything you said, this win was a nice win. You'd like to see this happen. I'm thankful for this. I wouldn't say easy win, but they seem to have handled this game pretty well, most of it. I think the cold did have something to do, and affect the Dolphins. It's obvious it did. They just seem to be a little more lethargic. Can't get things right the way the Packers were doing. But yeah, Josh Jacobs was huge today, although he didn't have a lot of numbers. He only rushed for 7. Oh, no, that was not it. 43 yards. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And on paper you're like, oh, that's not great. But he took a lot of rushing rushes. It was 19. That's quite a bit. So it was effective to the point where they needed to respect the run, and it pretty much opened the passing game. And splitting that between Brooks and Wilson, that was great too. I love to see that. Yeah, you're right though. Like it was like late third quarter, early fourth quarter when they were like scoring that touchdown, and you're like, they could get it close here, and then what? Mm-hmm. Like you start to get a little worried, but that was quickly dashed. So
I'm a little remiss now. I remember that correctly. That's where they got down to the 1, and the Packers held that goal line stand. That's where the Dolphins were going to be in the game, scoring that touchdown, or the Packers won it there. That was kind of like the dagger, and then they were able to drive a little bit, get the ball out there, and punt, and inevitably that was it. But had they got that touchdown in there, this game might have made us pretty uneasy that last 8-9 minutes. Day, I'm telling you, we would have been a little nervous, especially if they converted a 2-point conversion with the TDs. So that was a big thing. Hey, Dontavian Wicks caught a couple passes today. His hands work again.
Yeah, they do work.
That was a good anecdote on that as well. So, hey, at least we know he can catch balls.
Yeah. I mean, it was great to see the Packers start out strong and pretty much continue that throughout the whole game. I mean, that muffed punt to regain control really was a momentum shifter that the Dolphins could really never come back from. And then, everything the Packers did, worked reasonably well. I mean, nothing was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And they, it's not like they couldn't put drives together. So it was all pretty great. The Packers dominated in the first half. I wasn't really worried about anything the Dolphins were going to do kind of throughout the whole game. I mean, maybe, we talked about a little bit in the third and fourth quarter, but, there were times in the first half where I was kind of like checking out for a few minutes, like I was with family and stuff. So I was just like, yeah. Then I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll get back to the Packer game. Because a couple times I was like, I kind of didn't pay attention, and I wasn't worried about the Dolphins. So it was a weird sensation. Usually I'm glued to it, like every play, critiquing everything that's going on and wondering how this team's going to play for the rest of the game, And today it was just like, it's fine. Like it didn't seem threatening at all. And then the second half, the Packers just continued to dominate. The fans even booing Matt LaFleur for kicking a field goal and not going for it on fourth down when they could have and just really put the game away. But it was after that they got the field goal, and then the Dolphins kind of like brought back to life a little bit, and you kind of had that threat there. You're like, but it was it immediately extinguished. But the Dolphins injuries started to mount up. All those penalties. started just to take their toll, slow the game down, and just demoralize the Dolphins. I think that felt like that was the Packers earlier in the year, where they kept getting penalized over and over again. But honestly, at the end of the third quarter, Ren, I was kind of ready for this game to be done. And I think that we, at that point, knew already who the better team was and who was going to win. So I was just like, it'd be nice to get these guys off the field, go get warm. Like, let's just cut this off at the third quarter for real. But, you got to play it out. And, the Dolphins did play well at the end, even though they just couldn't do anything successfully. Right. They still gave it out their all, and props to them for continuing to try throughout the whole game. But the Packers had this in hand. This was a nice win again for the Packers. We have a whole nother week now until the next game. I love it. We're sitting pretty here. What is the NFC North here? Let me bring it up. Detroit has 11 wins, 1 loss. Minnesota 9-2. We're 9-3. So next week against Detroit, it's huge. It's huge. So you and I are going to get together next week for our episode, our regular during the week episode. So look for that, everyone. I don't really, again, like you, I don't have a lot to say about this game. Like, there was no like super misses, super points of contention issues with the Green Bay Packers team here. Most of it is like, oh yeah, Mosby had a really good play, and
special teams,
special teams was great.
That was a nice tackle by Aaron Mosby on special teams. Yep.
Like Watson stepped up, in Dobbs's absence. Love that. The Reed sweep worked today.
That was not an end around. That was a sweep.
It wasn't. It was like a sweep.
It was good. It was good. No, that was a much better design play today. You're not waiting for us to go all the way here to all the way over there. That doesn't work.
So
don't do the end around. The sweep.
There was
fine. Yeah. He's in motion. Handoff. He's got speed going one direction. Good. Love the play. Worked for me, man. Don't have a problem with that one. But the end stats of this game, Tay, are not going to be great. Tua put up some big numbers. The middle of field wasn't great in the second half for the Packers D. I attribute that a little bit to kind of they were playing off a little bit. There was one third down they got, and they backed off. They were not in man, and they were in zone. And you're like, they're 7 yards off the ball. I think it's 3rd and 5. I'm like, come on, don't do that kind of stuff. And Jonnu Smith was pretty effective. Tyreek Hill is, he's on that side of 30 now, and it's you could see it. It was
cold
down
today, and he could just tell it was like, eh.
It's just, he's not the electric guy. I still think he'll have some games like that, but he's not the electric guy game in, game out that he was 5 years ago. It's just, that's past him. So,
well, Packers had a great game today. I think, you can nitpick some things here, and was that second half football defense, like playing, when you're up. I don't know, but you could definitely sift through this with a fine tooth comb and pick out some things and some that passing defense. But overall, great win. You gotta be thankful for that on Thanksgiving night. It was great. Ren, I got nothing more to say about this one, so let's get out of here. We appreciate everyone listening, everyone following, everyone subscribing. Thanks for your support, and I hope you had a great day today, everyone, out in the Packer universe. So go Pack, go.
Yeah, Tay, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in Packer land. I know Leroy Butler gave 2 turkey sticks to Jordan after the game. 2 turkey legs because he didn't get one last year. So until our regular episode again, happy Thanksgiving, Tay, on the Pup List.